obviously when you get to sort of college level and everyone's that standard, it's kind of, you then realise, wow, I've got to now go another level again to be good at it. But it was a thing of burn the bridges. I said to myself, that's what I'm going to do, nothing else. And I do believe that really helps you to propel yourself, because you're then going, I've got to find a way to do this regardless, because I haven't got anything else really to kind of fall back on that I would like to do. And I believe in following what you love too. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be happy in life. So it's I'm lucky that it's worked out the way it has, in a way, because I don't know what else I would want to do.
Yeah. Well, you made it happen. You made your life happen. And I think that's absolutely amazing and so inspiring.
Hey, and welcome to the 20-Year Gap with your hosts, Kylie and Casey. We're two women with a 20-year age gap who give our generational perspectives on business, life, and everything in between. If you haven't yet done so, we'd love for you to hit follow, and while you're at it, please give us a rating so our podcast can grow organically and we can help reach more people. You'll find us at the 20-Year Gap on all your favorite social platforms. And now, let's jump into today's episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to today's podcast. Today's guest is Sean Smith. So Sean is a very talented performer and recording artist from the UK. Early on in his career, Sean and his sister were a duo performance called Same Difference, who actually became finalists on the XFactor UK. Following the XFactor, Same Difference were signed and went on to record 3 albums. Since then, Sean has gone on to follow his passion of performing, traveling around the world, spending a couple of months in Australia performing in the show Puttin' on the Ritz, and has performed Broadway productions on cruise ship, and has, since being home, he has released his own debut album called Solo. He's been involved in multiple fundraisers, a performance academy for kids, and is now the lead role in the local pantomime Dick Whittington in Portsmouth, UK. So everybody, welcome Sean.
Hello, thank you for that glowing reference. I really appreciate that.
I hope I got it all right, but I was trying to remember everything you and I spoke about, and jumping online and having a little bit of a chat.
I think you got it pretty much spot on there. I appreciate that. Actually, we had 2 albums, the Same Difference, not 3, but I'll let that one go.
Oh, you should correct Wikipedia then, because Wikipedia says you have 3.
You've done your homework. No, basically we were going to do a third. It was pretty much on the go, and then it didn't happen for one reason or another, which we won't go into. But yeah, it was pretty much we were kind of working on it, and it never really happened. It was called Superheroes, the infamous Superheroes that never got released. But it's all good.
I read that. It's actually correct in Wikipedia then. It's good. Yeah.
Right.
There we go. Well, I did give her the intro to fact check. So anyway, let's actually dive straight on in. So obviously I know a little bit about you, but we would like to tell everybody, how did you get, going back to your X Factor, how did you and Sarah, your sister, end up getting onto that stage? Like, what were your influences? What were your training? Like, what prepared you guys to go on an audition for X Factor?
For me, I mean, we were both different. Sarah was at college at the time in London, and she was at Italia Conti. It's one of the sort of big sort of drama dance schools. And I was just kind of like self-trained. I was out there. I'd been in boy bands for a lot of my sort of youth. And yeah, basically, I just kind of thought, right, I want to go from one level and see if I can get onto the sort of national level, and just went for the audition. And Sarah came along to sort of support me. And while we were in the queue for the X Factor, the guys came along with their cameras and sort of like just made a big thing of us for some reason in the line. And the next minute, we got sort of pushed forward. We went in auditions separately, and they said, look, we're sort of low on bands this year, so would you perhaps perform together? And we went in, did the most awful audition you've ever heard, because it was all sort of off the cuff. And for some reason, they just went, yeah, we're going to put you through. I don't know how we managed to sort of pull that one off. And the rest is history, so to speak.
That's amazing. So Sarah was just there to support you. Like, she had no plan to actually audition with you that day?
No, I honestly believe that, because she's sort of like, she's really young. She's quite sort of pretty, and she's sort of like smiley and happy. I just think she kind of stood out in and when they came over to her to sort of do a bit of filming, she was just like, I'm not here I'm not here to audition. I'm here for my brother. And I was just like, hi, and just managed to sort of like come along for the ride. So it kind of, I'm so glad that she was there that day, basically.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So tell us, like, what's the X Factor experience like? I mean, there's such a small handful of people in the world that got to actually go on X Factor and do all of that and make it as far as you guys did. Like, tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, well, at the time, it was like a hell of a lot bigger than it is maybe today, because it was sort of early stages. It was literally just mind-blowing how it kind of took us from one level to another. I'll never forget the amazing times that we had. It was like every day was a whirlwind. 1 minute you were up, the next minute you were down. It's I don't know, it was just an incredible time. I feel like I've learned a hell of a lot about myself since then, because it was quite, I can't explain it. It's quite surreal to go through that, but also you're putting yourself out there and just being who you want to be and doing whatever it takes to sort of make it. I've definitely changed a hell of a lot since then, but what an incredible time.
Oh, that's amazing. And now working with Simon Cowell, like what's that like? Because you went on to work with him afterwards, didn't you? Or just during X Factor?
Yeah, label. Yeah, and he was our mentor actually on the show, and it was nice to have him as a mentor, because he's kind of like quite respected here in the UK. So to have him kind of fighting your corner was maybe the best result for us. And then getting signed to his label afterwards was just incredible. They took up the option from what the sort of contract you signed beforehand, which was fantastic. And yeah, it sort of went from strength to strength, and ended up getting our dream of having our own album.
So he's not as scary as he seems. Nowadays, though, you see him on TV and he's become a lot softer. He's still very abrupt, but he's definitely gotten a lot softer. So he's obviously not as scary as he did seem back in those days.
For us, no, he was really good. He was always good to us because he was our mentor. I think he had to sort of back us and be on our side because he chose us to get through to that stage, if you know what I mean. But in answer to your question, like, he's got this aura about him that when he comes into the room, you sit up and listen, and any time he kind of came in, you changed, it was like, partly because you want to, take on his pearls of wisdom and be on his right side, and because that this is someone who can kind of propel you to superstardom, if you know what I mean. So he definitely had an aura about him, and you hung on his every word.
So I've got a question. So when you were working with him, and naturally you had your own passion and the kind of direction you thought you wanted to go in, did he somewhat shift you and make you go in a different direction, or did he just sort of enhance what you were already doing? How did that all unfold? Like, did you continue doing the genre, I suppose, that you were used to?
Well, I feel like the genre that was chosen, we were kind of like a cheesy pop group, really, which my sister loved growing up. So I felt like, because she was almost like the face of it, and she was very much that kind of person, that kind of helped it to shape. Once he knew that he'd had a niche there, and it was something that we were happy to go along with, he really did start to fully take us down that route, so that we had something that people could either love or hate, and we knew we had a niche market then. So I think he was very clever in the kind of songs that he chose for us as our mentor, to kind of give us a platform, something that people could hold on to, if you know what I mean. Because there are a lot of people who were kind of in the show just kind of floating along, just doing songs each week just to try and get themselves through, that never had that something that people could like cling on to. And when you say, this is what I am, people then have a reason to follow you, if you know what I mean.
Like a brand.
So, Like you stand for something, and it's solid.
Yeah, and that's what, but he definitely helped with that, because I remember one week, for example, we were floating all these different ideas, and he was saying, we want you to do a High School Musical song. And we were kind of like, are you sure this is like a pop show, or, a music show, and you want us to do a sort of musical song? And he was like, yeah, I think this song's going to be great for you guys. And it literally changed everything for us overnight. After that performance, people just got us who we were. And once you've got something that people seem to like, then it was just building on it and growing it, you know.
That's so exciting. That's fantastic. So tell us, now going away from X Factor, like what happened in the transition from going from X Factor to, I know you've traveled with productions and I know you've worked on cruise ships. Like what was kind of the timeline that you did all of that?
It was, the sort of X Factor thing kind of took out maybe 8-9 years after, because we had the tour just after that, which was the sort of a big arena tour that they do following the X Factor. And that was an incredible time, by the way, probably up there with the X Factor as far as having fun and enjoying ourselves.
So you did you did a full like stadium, just the two of you?
Yeah.
Or did you do like with a bunch of other groups or?
Well, both happened. So we had the X Factor tour, which was all of the sort of acts. Well, I think it was like the top 8 acts from our year. And that was like big arenas around the UK. And then after that, we then had our album, and then we toured the album as well. So that maybe took up 2 or 3 years after the X Factor. And then after that, it was just about kind of, we had our second album, which gave us another push. We were kind of touring everywhere. We were doing a lot of, because here in the UK, we have like holiday parks and stuff. I know you guys have them too. And we ended up getting like deals with those. It just kept us going and kept us performing, helped us bring on new fans. So we kind of built on it for, as I said, about 8 years all told. Wow. And then it kind of got to, I think it was Christmas of 2014, where we kind of went, it's kind of like a depreciating asset almost, where sometimes you just got to go, right, it was great while it was there, move on, and we have to do something else. And that's when everything started to happen, when I decided, to go on tour, different tours with different companies and shows. And then, as you said, rightly said, going on the cruise ships to do We Will Rock You and great shows like that, which kept everything going for me. It was really exciting.
So the traveling that you did with the productions, was Australia before ships, or was that I'm trying to remember what you once told me. Was that before ships or between ship contracts?
I think it was in between, yeah. So I did, I remember I went to China, was my first real kind of, solo venture. And I went out there and did a show called Elvis, the King of Rock and Roll. It was a great fun show. And we toured China. That was brilliant times. And that kind of like set me on this path of doing everything on my own without my sister. She then went to start teaching the children. She bought her own dance school, and she's doing that with her husband. So it kind of like gave us that separation then, which, I think we both kind of needed, because we've been in it for so long, trying to work at the same different thing, So, in answer to your question, it was, I did a few shows. Then I did the ship the first time, which was like 13 months doing We Will Rock You. And then in between was when I went and did Putting on the Ritz out in Oz. And then it was after that I came back, which was the ship that we were on together. Yeah.
So for just everybody that's listening, so Sean and I actually met each other. As you guys know, I used to work on cruise ships. And this most recent one that we were on together, and Sean unfortunately joined a bit late. Wasn't there for very long. Was filling a position on board. And now on these ships they do a show called We Will Rock You, and it is actually, it's the proper Broadway musical, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it originated here in the UK in the Dominion in London. Yeah. I think. Quote me on that. Brilliant
show. Anyway, so we were on the ship together, and then the pandemic hit, and we ended up dropping off all our guests, and we ended up just cruising the Bahamas and the Caribbean for a month, like just crew, and we all just got to hang out. So that was really fun. Yeah, it was terrible. We just laid by the pool and read books all day. It was very, very hard. It was a very hard life. Until we were all thrown in quarantine.
Don't tell people how good it was, because I'm still to this day saying, our contract got cancelled, and it's all very sad. And
poor thing, sitting on a cruise ship. It'd be terrible.
I know. There was a time, wasn't there, when they were saying, maybe you guys can stay on if you want to. And there was a point where I thought, why would I leave here?
Well, we got the choice. Paige and I got the choice. The day that they were saying they was like dropping the guests off, we had the choice of either flying home that day or staying on board, because everybody thought it was only going to be a 30-day suspension. So we were like, we'll stay, like 30-day cruise and no guests, holiday, woohoo! And then obviously when everything got a bit more serious, they started throwing us in, like doing the social distancing thing. Even though we were all quarantined, like we had no outside exposure on the ship. We were sitting at sea for, I can't even remember how many days, but towards the end, they all threw us into guest cabins and quarantined us, and we weren't allowed to see anybody or leave the cabins. So that was a great experience. But anyway, the working from the ships and then going, like, traveling around Australia. Oh, this is my question. This is where I was going. So we were sitting and we were talking, and I said this is one of the first times I think we were speaking, and I was like, oh, I'm from Australia, and you were telling me about how you were traveling around Australia, and you were like, oh, there's this one town that I really love, but I can't remember the name of it.
Really?
I cannot remember the name of it. Yeah. And he was like, let me find the photos. And I was like, I'll probably know where it is. He's like, let me find the photos and I'll show you the photos. And I was like, oh, I'm from a town called Port Macquarie. And Sean was like,
and then I was like, oh my God, that is it. That's it.
My
and
God.
I literally got the picture out, which was like the kind of sun's going down. It's one of my favorite pictures from when I was out there, because it really, yeah, it was gorgeous. The sun was going down. We were having a few drinks. We were about to do a show that night, and I remember thinking, "Wow, this is absolutely stunning." And I remember we walked all the way along it, where there's those that they kind of paint the rocks, don't they? And it's like people sort of doing obituaries to friends and family, and there's also really positive things written there, and it's just beautiful. We walked all the way along, sort of had pictures towards the end because you have to, because it was so gorgeous. Yeah. A few guys went for a dip in the sea, and then we sort of wandered back, and you know, you think, wow, we're about to go and perform to a sold out crowd. You know, it was a gorgeous place, and then the sun was going down as well, gorgeous red sky, and so it really stuck with me, that moment. And then as I said, we were talking about it, and it just so happens that that's where you live.
Crazy.
Cool. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
And how long did you spend in Australia? You spent a couple of months here.
Yeah, all told, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 months, I think. We toured everywhere. I think we spent the longest time in Melbourne, and we did a few different theatres around that area. But I remember it so fondly. And I always say this, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to Australia, but it's my favourite country, without question, that I've visited. And I feel like because of, like, China was great, but it was so different, and obviously the language barrier. Because you guys speak the same language, it's kind of like homely, but a hell of a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So it's not like as sort of crushed in with people around you all the time and stuff. And I just find people are so laid back and chill.
This is true.
Which is honestly just, for me, it's like perfect, you know. So I think you guys can feel pretty, happy with where you are. From all the travels that I've had, it's one of the most beautiful places for sure.
Yeah, no, we definitely love it. I've become a big fan of it. When I first was here, I didn't like the small town vibe of it. I thought it was too small for me. I needed to get out. But obviously, since I did leave and go traveling, and I've been all through Europe and the UK and Canada and America in the ships, and obviously I've since coming back and kind of not forced to stay here, but also at the same time forced us to stay here.
I had to console her for quite some time, but she's coming around.
I was very much like,
yeah. But on the
You're
ship,
very much like free-spirited.
But when I was on the ship, and this is the ship, every second word was ship.
But I did love it, and I was also only 2 months into that contract on the Anthem, so it was also like ripped out in my brand new position, so it was kind of ripped out from under me as well. Yeah. So, and I don't think we won't be going back.
I'm sure it will be open. I thought that because after I did my first time round, I thought, never again, because that was 13 months. It was a long contract, and a long time being away. But then when the opportunity came up to sort of to cover Daz, as well, it kind of like, it was perfect because it was like 2 months away, doing this incredible show. It was almost like a paid holiday for a while,
Yeah, especially
I'm really
30 days, we didn't have to do anything.
I know. Honestly, I thank my lucky stars for that whole situation, really, because it just it was perfect. And not only that, financially being at home and have that time off, it really set me up for this period when we're off and nothing's happening in the UK with the theatres and stuff. So, well, we've really delved into like personal.
So I do have another question though. So you went from being Same Difference, and then you went into working on ships and doing pantomimes and stuff. But the stuff that Casey's been showing me, or your singles now, which I've got in my head, and I was just humming and I was singing and I was like,
I played her Wishing on the Water.
And it's just stuck.
We've been humming it all evening.
It's really good. I really like it. However, you have changed your look. Every single time I've seen a clip, you look completely different.
Yeah, I think that's always something to do. You've got to kind of reinvent yourself when you're doing this stuff. I mean, I had an image with Same Difference. I mean, I don't want to completely come away from that because in truth, it was who I was at that time. You know, it's one of those things where you kind of learn, develop, and also you've got to reinvent yourself. Otherwise there's nothing for people to hold on to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just realized, and you guys are going to laugh on the YouTube video, but I didn't hit record on the Zoom.
Oh, what? Oh my God, no!
On the video. I didn't hit record on the video. We've got the audio, so...
Oh, look, there were so many buttons, and we were going, okay, we need to do this, we need to clap, we need to press, we need to do that. Oh, no.
You're going to blame Kylie and the clapper, aren't you?
Yes, of course. Every time.
There we go. This will go into the stories of memories. That's why I was just like, oh, no. Well, you know what? I hit record now, so we can... We'll just have to be like, there is goodness coming. There is goodness coming. Wait for it.
Especially since we're not looking at you, we're looking over here thinking, anyway. Well.
What's going on there? Because you kind of started like,
she gave me that look and I was like, oh, something's gone down.
I just came in, I was like, oh no. I remembered to push record on the GoPro. So hi guys, you can see us. We will add Sean's beautiful face into the bottom very shortly.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, I love how you guys have got this thing where just a look and you know everything.
There's telepathy going on.
Yeah,
all the
we
time.
spend too much time together now. We can definitely read each other's minds. But anyway, transitioning now from when we all left the ship and this pandemic's hit and you've come home. I know when we all came home, the UK was on quite a solid lockdown. Like you guys weren't even allowed to leave your house. Like what have you done? I know you've done a lot since then. So can you tell us a little bit how that journey's gone from like the lockdown, coming home from the ship to where you are now?
Yeah, I think it was just about really making the most of it because there's not a hell of a lot you can do. Luckily, before I went away on the ship, I'd already got everything working as far as the album. So it's already recorded and ready to go. And really, we were just waiting for a right time to do it. Now, then there was the question of, do we get it out while we're in lockdown? Because, you know, we can't go out and tour it. You know, no one's going to be able to see stuff live, which often with independent artists, that's a big way of getting your music out there. So it was kind of like weighing it up. You know, we've got a lot of time, but at the same time, we're not going to be able to tour it. We decided, let's do it. So, and that just started this sort of rolling of events. The album came out. Then one night I was just having a few drinks, you know, because I think when the pandemic first hit, there was a lot of emotion, wasn't there? Yeah. And people were coming together. And I remember one night having a few drinks in the back garden, and I thought to myself, I really want to do something as far as like giving back to our incredible NHS that have done an amazing job. And that the idea to reunite Same Difference for a one-off charity record at such a crazy time, that was something that came to light as well. So we ended up doing that. And then the song with the Beware the Bear band, which is like a local band here to Portsmouth, which is the song you were talking about, Wishing on the Water, that was pretty much already ready to go as well. So we decided to get that out. So there's a lot of whirlwind of different stuff happening that's kind of kept me flowing throughout this year while everything's been closed.
That is fantastic. Great. Yes, I've been watching your journey, and it has seemed like you've kept quite busy. Now I saw that you were also doing something with like a performance academy for kids. Was that something to do with the same difference? Like I saw you were teaching them songs, or what were you doing there?
Yeah, so basically there's a story to everything. It all kind of evolved.
Yeah.
And I'm a great believer in like things just happening naturally. But Sarah and I years ago decided to kind of like secure our future as Same Difference. We needed to sort of branch out as well. So we started a thing called Same Difference Pop Academy, which was kind of in a week they'd come to us and we'd put on a show with a bunch of kids in an incredible setting, and all the parents and stuff would come and watch at the end. And it was a really good sort of business idea that kind of took off, and the kids loved their time, and it kind of just grew. So then we ended up taking that concept and bringing it to the sort of holiday parks here in the UK. So then we toured that for like 2 years. And by the end of it, I was just like, oh my goodness, like I'm done with teaching because I'd had so much of it. That's when it came to the point where I started venturing off my own. Sarah decided that was really for her. But I still kind of do a bit of teaching here and there because obviously Sarah's got the outlet because of her dance school.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll just say, come in and do a bit of teaching. You know, I think the kids love having me there. And it's kind of like something that's fun that happens because she's very sort of stern teacher, as much as they will love her. And I come in and it's like, you know, in 5 minutes they're hanging off me and stuff, you know. But it's something that's kind of there that I can do, but it's not like the dream of what I want to pursue, you know.
Yeah. Now, I was had a question. I've obviously seen a lot of our friends from the UK sharing something to do with like the arts, that the government's not sharing or has not said that the arts are needed, or what's going on with all of that, because that's very, very heartbreaking to think that the government doesn't think that the arts need funding.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good. I'm glad we're sort of like covering this, to be honest, because I don't really ever take any kind of political view on anything.
Yeah.
But with that, I must admit, as someone who's in the arts, I do find that it did hurt, you know, and I don't really feel hurt by a lot of political stuff, but to hear that something that you've worked on that's been your career and your income for your entire life and being told, you know, it's not really worthy to life and to society, so learn something else. It does get you back up. At the same time, I've kind of tried not to allow myself to get too involved in it. Yeah. Because I always find that it's like you want to be opposing to what they're saying rather than fighting fire with fire. Yeah. So I just think leave it. It will come round. People love the arts. We know that because otherwise there wouldn't be an industry at all. And as soon as they do find this cure, we'll be out of it. And then I haven't kind of like put myself into a pigeonhole of I'm an angry person that's going to fight this. Do you see what I mean? That's my take on it. For example, it's because obviously it's so hard to stay away from politics at this time, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I kind of take the thing of you can only do what you can only help by doing the best you can do, and by inspiring, by being that way.
Well, that's it. Like I've seen it all over social media, and I've seen it on Facebook, and I think someone from the ship shared, like, the next time you don't think that the arts are worthy, like, and you're in lockdown, don't turn on Netflix, don't open iTunes or Spotify, like, don't have any of that, and then see how worthy, like that. I'm exactly the same. Like, I don't pay any attention to pretty much anything that's going on, you know, outside of like the positivity that I want in my life. But that did obviously hurt and break my heart because I've got so many friends who are such talented performers. That definitely did break my heart a little bit. But that leads me into my next question. Your pantomime.
Yeah, come on. Just get me back on that stage.
So I have to tell you, when I saw this, I grew up going to the pantomime in South Africa. That was like my favorite. My grandmother, like, every time there was a new pantomime, my grandmother was like, we're going. And that was the only time we went into the city in South Africa, was to go to the theatre to see the pantomime. And I have such fond memories of it as a kid. And then I didn't see it for years. And then I went to see a pantomime when I was an adult, and I was like, Oh my gosh, the hidden adult humor
I know.
in this. I was like obviously when you see it, you've never been to pantomime, have you?
No.
Oh, so it's kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but it's kind of like they take a classic fairy tales type story and they make it really funny. Like, and I love that they've always got a dude as like the fairy or the mother or something like that. I mean, I don't really know the story of your one, but the adult humor, kids can watch it, but the sexual innuendos and all the adult humor that's built in around it is hilarious. So tell us a little bit about the pantomime that you're doing.
Well, yeah, you pretty much said it all. What you just said there is what it is, basically. It's like a lot of sort of over your head stuff for the kids, but they still see the magic in it, you know, and that's what I love about Panto. I think you can kind of push the boundaries, see how much you can get away with. but then if you take it too far, you get a telling off. You know?
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, I always sort of play the sort of leading man guy. So a lot of my stuff is mainly story-led. Yeah. Which is good because you still, you know, you get the whole story and you get to chip in a little bit and you get a lot of the songs and stuff, but it's all about the comedy really, and as I say, it's for all the family just to kind of have an incredible time. And really here in the UK, it's so sort of prominent that it's like without it, Christmas just wouldn't be the same, you know. I know, yeah, because you said you do have it out there. I know that in the state in Sydney they do the panto and stuff, but I'm not sure how sort of prominent it is. But for us, it's like an age-old tradition that will be something that we're proud of and we love. And
I love that. It's not pantomime's not that big here in Australia.
Well, clearly not, because I haven't been to one.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. I have seen that
town,
Frozen, the Broadway musical, is coming to Australia, and that's what we went and saw on Broadway when we had those couple of days in New York. Were you on board then when we had the overnights in New York? You came on. No,
do you know what? That was just before I came. I was supposed to come before that, but then there was that thing where they weren't sure whether they were going to sail or not, and there was a lot of issues, wasn't that? So then I got pushed back a week, and but a lot of people were saying like maybe they felt like when they went into New York and then they got ill, maybe that was like Corona. Because remember Damien, who was saying he got really ill off the back of getting off and going to New York, and that was really like the start of when we thought, well, this pandemic is something that's real and it's really getting out there now, you know.
Yeah. We did all get a cold. I was quite sick as well when we got back from. I think we all got quite sick after we came back from New York, but we all survived. Yeah. And there was no cases on board, according to the doctors.
That is true. Yeah, I know. We were told that consistently, but yeah, what are you saying about Frozen?
Yeah, well, those days we were like, okay, we're obviously staying over in New York. I've never actually been on Broadway, so we went to Broadway, and that was the show that we watched, and absolutely loved it. Like, I thought it was incredible. And now I've seen they've just put big. I was just in Sydney the other day, and they've put big signs like Frozen, the Broadway musical, is coming to Sydney, and I was like, yes,
huge,
yes, I'm definitely going to go see that. I can't wait. The
music's incredible.
Yes,
isn't it?
It was very, very good.
I am concerned that the song's going to get stuck in my head. I mean, my daughter was all about Frozen. She's now 15, so this is going back some time.
Yeah.
But Glenn and I, my husband and I, were like, oh my God, that song, this song.
Let
and I'm
go.
just, yes, don't. I was saying the song because I didn't want to get the words in my head again. But yeah, I'm concerned that if we do go down to Sydney, it's just going to be like stuck.
But it's so worth it. Like when she sings that song, like the
That's because you haven't had a child singing it 24 hours a day.
I was the child singing it 24 hours a day.
Well, it was okay for you. And it was okay for Kira. But for us, it was like... Oh.
My niece is at that stage. My niece is at that stage.
I'm with you.
Sing. Sorry, darling. My niece, whenever we phone, she's always like doing ballads. She's 3 now. So she's always like singing Frozen. Like that's the only way we can really get her to interact over the phone was like, sing us a Frozen song.
And then you hang up.
Oh, it's huge for the kids.
Yeah. But have you seen the second one?
No.
It's really good.
I don't think I have.
That was playing on repeat when we were on the ship, like where they had 4 movies like on the big screen outside, and they only had 4 movies, and that was one of them that they played on repeat. So I've seen that one a few times.
What was this? Into the Unknown. That's another one that's going to get in there now.
Yes. That's the second one.
Oh, well, I have seen it then.
I got to say, I'm with Kylie on this one because I just feel a little bit like I've heard that way. We used to do it for our pop academy, and obviously every kid wants to sing it. And as soon as they go, "No, I can't," just scream it just you can't get it out of there. But and because of like Pantos for kids and stuff, that song was played. This was last year when Frozen 2 came out. That was just played non-stop for while we were waiting for the people to come in. So every time you're getting ready to go on and stuff and getting ready for the show, that would be playing again. then it's in again,
Yeah. Oh no, it was wonderful. Anyway, we don't want to take up too much more of your time. However, I would like to kind of ask you a shaping question, basically to go back to the theme of what we like to share, what our passions are, and basically about your passion. So what I want to ask is, what was your driving force in that no matter what, I'm going to follow my passion to be a performer? Like, did you meet resistance in terms of people saying like, you can't make money in it and you should get a real job? Or, did you meet that resistance growing up, or even when Same Difference ended? Like, did people turn around and say to you like, oh, when are you going to start, finding a real job? Or like, what was kind of...
I feel like, one of our MPs is the only one that's ever said that.
Oh, really?
To be honest. Well, I mean, honestly, my dad wanted me to be a footballer. He was a footballer, wanted me to follow in his footsteps. It didn't push me towards it, but it was kind of leaning that way. Would have loved to have seen me do that. But other than that, really, I always believe in this thing of burn the bridges behind you. I was never really massively academic. I could get by. I was kind of like average. So it was never like I was stupid or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like I never really pursued anything properly other than performance in the arts. And it was clearly from a very young age something that I was sort of exceptional at compared to the other kids in my... Obviously, when you get to sort of college level and everyone's that standard, it's kind of, you then realise, wow, I've got to now go another level again to be good at it. But it was a thing of burn the bridges. I said to myself, that's what I'm going to do, nothing else. And I do believe that really helps you to propel yourself, because you're then going, I've got to find a way to do this regardless, because I haven't got anything else really to kind of fall back on that I would like to do. And I believe in following what you love too. If you don't do that, then you're not going to be happy in life. So it's I'm lucky that it's worked out the way it has in a way, because I don't know what else I would want to do.
Yeah.
Well, you made it happen. You made your life happen, and I think that's absolutely amazing and so inspiring.
Yeah, that's what we're trying. Like, basically what we're trying to do out of this podcast is really encouraging people, no matter what your age is. Like Kylie and I, that's basically why we called ourselves the 20-year gap, because we're both at the stage in our life, Kylie, you've reached it later. You've done what society told you to do. And you did all the steps that you thought you should have done, and only now you're kind of realizing, oh, I haven't followed what I want to do, and I haven't done what I want to do. Luckily, I reached that when I was in my very early 20s, and I went off gallivanting around the world. And COVID's been a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it has brought us back to, it's grounded me enough to really figure out what I want out of life and go for it. So that's basically what we're trying to encourage people to do, is really to step out of your comfort zone and just do it. Find what you love, find your passion, and just do it. Do you have any have any advice? Like, if you met a kid that wanted to follow their passion, can you think of anything off the cuff advice about following your passion?
Just do it. It's as simple as that. But basically, there's something came to mind then when you guys were speaking, which, you said you had to find yourself, Kylie, like you had to kind of go through that to do what society said, to kind of, and to then realise, no, I want to do what I love. Well, I kind of thank, in a way, my parents' experiences for that, because my dad with his football, I could see when I was young growing up that he'd given up that for the sake of me and to be with my mum, which I'm obviously eternally grateful for. He's put a hell of a lot into that. But I could see when he kind of got to a point where he thought, I could have done so much more with my football. And I could see that sort of pain. He's so much better now that he's older, and he sees, getting us to where we are is one of his biggest achievements, so to speak. But also, he could have done a lot more of himself. And because of that, it's given me that feeling of, I kind of skip that stuff that you said about Kylie, which is, trying to do other stuff to kind of do what society, so to speak, wants you to do. And kind of went, well, I've learned from their mistakes because I could see it growing up. And it really helped me to propel forward, if you know what I mean, and burn the bridges, so to speak.
I listened to a thing today from Gary Vee, and he basically said that he goes, if you go to an old age home, everybody in an old age home is full of regret.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, regret is way more painful and way more lingering than actually just going out and failing, doing it and failing and doing it and failing until you succeed. The pain of regret is a lot more painful.
Or even if you don't succeed, at least you know you've given it a go, and it wasn't for you, or it was never going to be for you. But at least you've put it to bed. You've had a crack, didn't happen. That's okay. Maybe it wasn't for me. Let's move on to the next thing. Whereas a lot of people they just go into the workforce and they work in a job that they hate, and they have a miserable life because of it, and then they're in the old age home and they just sit there and they think, oh my gosh, all of these years, 85 years, and I've done nothing that I truly wanted to do.
Yeah. Actually, that I wanted to ask, the song Wishing on the Water, is that basically, what's the kind of the theme? That's what I took from it, was kind of like you followed your dreams in that song. Like, what is the meaning behind that song?
I feel the same as you. I mean, I didn't write it. There's a guy called Russ from the Beware the Bear, the band.
Yeah.
He wrote it, and he said that the thought behind it was he went away and his wife was pregnant, and he kind of sat with his feet in the water and was like, when I get back, my life's going to change. I'm going to have this baby, And he wrote it because of that. And he was saying, I'm wishing on the water. I hope my kid has a happy life, And it was that for me kind of took it to another level. But it kind of, the song works for me with where I'm at as well. So that's why I can sing it with more passion and stuff too. Because I think when, you kind of go through stages, I find I'm so different to what I was like when I was 20, in my 20s, and just wanted to live everything and see everything. Now I kind of know my likes and dislikes, the path that I want to follow, stuff that I'm happy to sort of like let other people enjoy, and that's what the song is for me. We've kind of arrived, and I found myself a lot more kind of song. It's a lot more mature.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. We will share that song on our page, so make sure you go check it out. But for everybody that is listening to us, Sean, where can they go follow you and check you out and listen to your music?
Well, if you go to www.seansmithsolo.com, that's Sean with SEAN, everything will be on there to be able to follow me. And I'm always great at kind of getting back to people and, bringing them, helping them to feel like they can come along on this journey with me. But I look forward to some of your listeners coming and reaching out.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Brilliant.
Anything else from you from today, Kylie?
No, I've absolutely loved listening to you. It's actually really cool because Casey has told me about you, and we went to an Airbnb a couple of weeks ago to do some recordings, and we had you up on the big screen, and that's what I was saying, how you've had the blonde hair and the dark hair and the whatever.
Well, because that was when we were going to talk the last time we arranged to chat. So I was like, oh, let me put, like, I popped you up on YouTube, and we were listening to all your songs on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's really lovely to meet you, and I've really enjoyed listening to you guys chatting and learning a bit more.
It's been a good catch up.
Thank you so much. No, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on. And you never know, we may end up, crossing paths on a ship again, Casey. You never know, because we're in the same company now, and I'm certainly not counting out the future because it's such a great fun life. You
might end up back in Port Macquarie where the beautiful sunset happens.
Yeah.
And...
Oh my goodness! I need to wait one sec. I need to show you this because I ended up getting a mug. It's the very picture. One sec.
Okay, go for it. Anyway, while he runs to grab that, guys, you can follow us on all our socials. Like I said, we'll share some of his stuff on our page. We'll also link it below in the description, so that Sean Smith Solo website, we'll link that below in the website, so you can check that out there. We do apologize for the lack of video for half the session. I did have a bit of a blonde moment. But yeah, definitely, we haven't jumped on our socials yet at the 20-year gap. pretty much on everything, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we'd love to connect. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode, and definitely jump over to Sean's pages to check him out. But let's see what he's got for us.
Here it is. Here it is.
You got it on a cup.
Oh, no way.
I did.
Wow.
My mum got me this for Christmas one year because she knew that was like a nice moment in life. So now when I have a cup of tea, I'm reminded of it as well.
There we go. So for people who are listening, he's got a beautiful mug with a picture that he's obviously taken here in Port Macquarie, our town, but sitting on the break wall watching the sunset. So yeah.
How crazy is
That's
that?
cool.
That blows my mind.
Out of the whole world.
Just so bizarre that here we are talking to you from Port Macquarie, and it happens to be one of your favourite places in Australia.
Yeah.
Amazing.
In the world. I don't know. But yeah, that's crazy.
Definitely. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Sean. Guys, thank you so much for having a listen. Make sure you jump on our pages, jump on our Instagram, and we'll let you know when that next episode is going to be coming out. We've had a blast tonight.
Yes.
And we will speak soon.
Thanks, guys. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode, and remember, if you got something out of what we discussed today, please hit the follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Also, it would mean the absolute world to us if you gave us a rating to help us grow. We look forward to bringing you more, but until then, go live your best life.